Live from downtown Vancouver at the Vancouver Film School campus, it's time for EP Live. Hey, welcome to EPN. My name is Victor Lucas, and we bring you the latest in everything cool. And man, have we got a cool show for you today. So cool, I needed to wear my hoodie today. It's kind of hoodie weather here in Vancouver. Torrential rains. Our guest, Will Ho, who is the creative director on NHL 20, is coming up right after the rundown. He is drying off his socks right now off camera because he is soaked. That's how dedicated he is. He wanted to come and talk with you guys and with me about NHL 20, which comes out this week. Super excited about that. But we've got a rundown to get to. This one is going out to NGM, who says they are loving the retro reviews. Thank you. I think you're talking about our brand new segment. It's called 16-Bit Superheroes. We're going to show you one of those today in the show, but let's get started with your rundown. We're getting a better idea of what to expect from the next game in the Resident Evil franchise. Capcom has released a short teaser trailer for a new game codenamed Project Resistance. It's the new multiplayer Resident Evil game that was first teased earlier this past summer and is described as a team-based survival horror experience. Judging by the trailer, the game will see teams of up to 4 players go up against formidable adversaries from past games in the series, including the dreaded Mr. X. Although we'll have to wait to find out more details. It will get a full unveiling at the Tokyo Game Show later this week. Capcom is back on fire with Resident Evil. I'm very excited about this. They seem to be not doing anything wrong with the franchise recently. Resident Evil 7 was incredible. Resident Evil 2 was deserving of all of its adoration, and this excites me very much, particularly if it's got the look and feel of the more recent, more modern Resident Evil games. I would love to play some cooperative, let's see how long we survive type of Resident Evil experience. This sounds like a blast. Really looking forward to this. Now, the Joy-Con-less Switch Lite is right around the corner, but that doesn't mean that Nintendo has forgotten about the Joy-Cons. Nintendo has filed a patent for a pair of bendable Joy-Con controllers. First spotted by fans on Reddit, the patent details how the new controllers would have a tiny hinge on the inside, allowing users to bend the top part away from them at an angle for more ergonomic thumb movement. This is just a patent, so there's no telling if Nintendo will actually make it a reality, so we'll have to wait and see. In the meantime, Nintendo has teased new peripherals for the existing Switch controllers, which look similar to many of the fitness peripherals for the original Wii. Whatever those are, they'll be announced later this week. These are the bendy hula hoop type thing. It's almost like they took Batman's utility belt off and then they started to squish it and squeeze it, and it's weird. It's a weird commercial because they just show the people fighting with the thing. They don't show what they're playing at all, so it's probably some kind of fitness doodad. We'll see about that. This is not in the news, but I also just saw that there might be a cardboard-less VR attachment for Switch VR, so maybe they're thinking about making a little more money on some of these VR interactive entertainment pieces that they keep doing and these conversions. We'll see about all of this, but clearly Nintendo is making lots of money and they're experimenting, which we love for Nintendo to do. They don't always nail it, but we like them to kind of try new things, right? I don't know about this bendable Switch, though. Switch Joy-Con. We'll see. It looks like Warner Brothers may have finally fixed the problems that they've had with their DC film adaptations. The new Batman-inspired film Joker, starring Joaquin Phoenix, has just won the prestigious Golden Lion Award at the Venice Film Festival. This makes it the first comic book adaptation to win the award. It indicates that the film will likely be a major contender this Oscar season. The fact that the movie is already getting such high praise from critics is a far cry from when DC movies were just a few years ago, with the likes of Batman vs. Superman and Justice League being critically panned and underperforming at the box office. Joker hits theaters next month. I can't wait to see this movie. But it is weird for me that Batman isn't associated with this movie, at least in the context that we know of it so far. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be lots of teases. We'll probably see the young Bruce Wayne. I think that's Thomas Wayne that gets punched in the trailer. It looks like there's been some sly homages. I saw something on Reddit where it looked like there might have been a tip of the hat to Jack Nicholson's Joker. I'm excited to see all of the stuff in the background, but I've said this before, Joaquin Phoenix could play crazy by like a snap of the fingers. The guy has got crazy down, so it's not like, oh my God, what a great idea. This guy, we've never seen him be crazy. We've seen him be crazy a lot. So that doesn't mean it's going to be bad. I think it's smart. It's smart casting. It's just unfortunate that we don't have I guess we're building to this. It's a little unfortunate that we don't have a Robert Pattinson, Batman, Joaquin Phoenix, Joker kind of matchup kind of ready to go. It's a different way to kind of approach this, and maybe the smartest thing for DC to do is to go one at a time and stop kind of trying to create the Marvel-ish version of their stuff and get it all down our throats quickly, because we've had a lot of mixed results on that. And I've seen the teaser for the Birds of Prey movie with Harley Quinn, and it looks okay. And there's been some interesting casting that's been going on Suicide Squad 2, although he's just calling it the Suicide Squad, so clearly James Gunn just wants to scrub that first terrible Suicide Squad movie off the face of the earth, which is the right move. And I also read recently that the cinematographer that worked on the Justice League movie cried when he watched the film on screen because it was very different from what Zack Snyder had sort of cobbled together and worked on. It's been very tumultuous so far. So maybe this crazy Joker movie is going to be the thing that kind of brings it all together. And, I mean, can you imagine if the Joker wins Best Picture? What a world. Crazy. Well, I am excited. It's just weird to me that it's not a Batman thing. Okay. Of course, you could just put Batman in any movie, and I'd be happy with that, including the Fast and the Furious franchise. And Hollywood in general may have hit a speed bump in the world's fastest-growing film market. The new Fast spin-off, Hobbs & Shaw, has taken a surprise dip at the Chinese box office. It earned just $10 million in its third weekend inside the country, down from $26 million the previous weekend, and this is despite having almost no local competition. The franchise has historically been a smash success in China, and the film is still a hit, already earning more than it has in North America. But given the importance of the Chinese market, hopefully the slowdown doesn't indicate future problems for the Fast franchise and other Hollywood film properties. It's unclear what caused the drop, but it comes amidst a brewing trade war between the U.S. and China that could have an even bigger impact on the film industry and pretty much every other industry that's out there right now, including the iPhone. And we're about to have all kinds of iPhone announcements tomorrow. So it'll be interesting to see what happens through this inopportune trade war for a lot of businesses out there. I think there might be a little franchise fatigue with this Fast and the Furious thing. I think the last few movies have been fun, but I don't know if they have warranted the spectacular box office that they've had all over the. I don't know. I mean, from my vantage point, they've been okay, but I know a lot of people just adore these Fast movies. I actually liked Hobbs & Shaw. It was completely insane, but it was an entertaining movie, and I like those actors. We'll see. I mean, maybe everybody in China just loves Vin Diesel. Maybe they just love him, and that they only show up for the Vin Diesel. And if you take your Vin Diesel out, they're not showing up. Maybe that's what happened. Who knows? But I know that China will come roaring back for the appropriate film when it comes into their marketplace. All right, you guys, that's going to do it for our rundown today. Let's take a look back at this day and everything cool. Welcome to This Day and Everything Cool for September 9th. On this day, 2 awesome video game consoles dropped in North America. On September 9th, 1995, Sony released the original PlayStation following its release in Japan the previous year, and 4 years later, on September 9th, 1999, Sega released their legendary system, the Dreamcast, a year after its launch in Japan. With the PlayStation, Sony had wanted to get into the lucrative video game market after seeing the success that other companies were having. They had originally planned to work with Nintendo and create a disc-based add-on for the SNES, but the project was scrapped and Sony eventually turned it into the standalone PlayStation. Because it used CDs instead of cartridges, it was much easier for developers to code games for the system, which gave it a massive library of third-party titles. This helped make it a massive success, establishing Sony as a major player in the game industry, and the PlayStation 2 followed in the year 2000. As for the Dreamcast, it was released just a few years after the Sega Saturn, which had failed financially, and Sega hoped that the Dreamcast would put them back on top. In order to compete with Sony and Nintendo, Sega made sure that the Dreamcast would have the most advanced hardware on the market, meaning that games would look and sound much better than anything available from the competition. This backfired. It made the system much more expensive to manufacture, so Sega actually sold it at a loss in the hopes that they would make their money back on software sales. This didn't work either because the new hardware on the Dreamcast made it more difficult for developers to create games, which meant that it had a limited number of third-party titles. The Dreamcast failed in Japan and was only a modest success in North America, which wasn't enough to keep it alive. Sega discontinued the system just a year later, and they also switched from a hardware company to a software company, and have since only made games for systems made by their former rivals. Much love to Sega on 9/9/99. Man, that was 20 years ago. Holy crap, time is moving fast. Lots of good memories came flooding back into my mind thinking about the Dreamcast. It's a big month for Sega. I know that they're celebrating this 20-year anniversary of the Dreamcast. It's time for them to announce a Dreamcast Mini, but they've got the Sega Genesis Mini coming up very soon. We've got lots of great content coming up for that, but congratulations to all of our friends at Sega. I hope you are having a real party this week to celebrate the Dreamcast and all the good games that came out for that machine. But you know what? It's time to talk about a good game that's coming up very soon. It's created right here in Vancouver, British Columbia. Please join me in welcoming the creative director of NHL 20 to the show. Will Ho, come on up, my friend. It's good to see you.
Hey.
You're dry.
Good to see you, Vic.
Good to see you, too. You got dry. You managed to get dry.
Yeah.
Yes?
Good thing I bought a new pair of pants this afternoon.
How's the framing? Is he good? He's good right there? Okay, good.
All right.
Move my mic a bit closer and Will's mic a
Okay.
bit closer. Thank you, Blake.
Eat this thing.
Thank you. Okay, so I have the game. I have it right here, and I'm going to give you a controller right here.
Right on.
And hopefully
Yeah.
this doesn't change.
There we
Okay,
go.
you're going to drive in the game, and I think what we want to do. Let's talk about you for a quick second, because I've known you in a bunch of different roles over the years.
right.
Did we first meet when you were at United Front?
I think we first met when I was at Black Box.
At Black Box, that's right.
Yeah, we might have talked a bit of Need for Speed way back when on the PS1.
That's amazing.
In those days. PS1,
So-
PS2, I don't know.
So you
all
started,
blur.
was that one of your first game jobs?
I actually started at Radical Entertainment. I started
Nice.
doing sports games at Radical back then.
Right on.
And
Hockey?
it was hockey, bit of basketball. Funny, back then, I don't know if you know this trivia, but we were working on a line of sports games.
Yes.
That was my first gig, was designing a hockey game and sports games, and we were working on a line of sports games that was going to take down EA Sports.
With ESPN.
Yeah, guess how that turned out. But we're happy to be part of EA Sports now. It was amazing. We were young and wild and thought we were going to take over the world.
It was anybody's game back then.
It was.
There
It
were
was
lots,
wide open.
Yeah, there were lots of different studios making lots of different versions of hockey.
There was
and
one year
baseball
when there
and
were, I think,
basketball.
5 major console hockey games one year, right? It was just completely wide open.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, you guys, I know that you've got a lot of colleagues that worked at Radical that you're probably working with now on NHL.
That's
and I know
right.
that happened, right? There was a little bit of a splinter off of EA and went to try
Yeah.
things out with Radical, and then you'd go back to EA.
Yeah, a lot of people, it's such a small town, and a lot of people who have worked together at so many different studios, right?
Yeah.
So whether it was Radical, to EA, and then, a number of those guys, went off to form Black Box and Next Level Games.
Yes.
And then, a lot of those people worked together again, at EA. And so it's been a big swirl of sort of the same people working together over and over again. But what's amazing about that is the chemistry that we've developed, right? It's almost like we have our own language, or we have that simpatico, and that it's very, very easy, even years on, to work with the same people and over and over again.
Well, and I don't know, and you can tell me this, if developers that are entering into the field now will have this diversity in their lineup. Like, you've been very fortunate to jump from interesting project to interesting project, and Mod Nation Racers is a very different game from NHL 20, and you worked on Need for Speed in Stockholm or in
Gothenburg, Sweden. And what's amazing is some of the people who worked on great karting games at Frank Games were also guys who made great sports games at EA and Radical and at Next Level, right? So,
do you think a new developer is going to be able to do that, or are they going to be kind of, if they love hockey, which presumably you get resumes every day for people that want to just join your like they'll end up working on hockey because these games are so big now.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, we had a recent graduate right here at VFS, and he was up on stage presenting his game, and I think it was a fighting game, and then he was up on stage declaring that he wanted to work on hockey, right? So I just had to meet that fellow, and who knows, we might have a role for him coming up. But it's amazing that there is this diversity of games and diversity of platforms and diversity of game engines that these new kids, they're finding their own way. Right. It's not as easy as before when you just know someone, or my brother works for this video game company and you're in. Right. You have to have the chops. You have to have the passion. You have to have to prove that you can work on a team. You have to prove that you have that commitment to quality and really see your game through to final. But these kids have never known a world where they weren't able to make games. Right. So I think that's going to carry this new generation of game developers through.
You are part of the generation that was helping to define the language of games.
We had no idea that we could, right? I dreamed when I was a kid that I would make video games. I was programming on my Atari computer. I'd make racing games on my Atari computer in my bedroom, right?
Awesome.
And then it didn't seem like a viable option when I was growing up in Calgary, right? Like my parents always said, well, you have to do like the normal things, right? And then I sort of went and did some of the more air quote normal things, but then I just learned through university that it was an option. I was actually going to go into a completely different industry. I was going to go into journalism. I might actually have been a colleague of yours.
You could have been on EP.
In an alternate timeline. But then a buddy of mine said, "Hey, we're starting up this QA team at Radical Entertainment at the time," and then I jumped on board, and then worked in QA, learned a ton about various different game genres, because they were doing sports, they're doing an independence game. They did a game called Grid Runner, which is futuristic tag.
That's the
they're doing a Metroid-like game, right?
Oh yes, I remember that.
So being able to meet lots of different people working on lots of different genres of games, it was almost like a crash course in game development. Right. And then I came in through sports because I grew up playing NHLPA 93 and NHL 94 with my buddies and so on and so forth, and that was sort of my first dream job come true.
Was EA a part of that dream job? You've been there in different sort of fits and starts over the years for a long time now, right?
Yes, I mean certainly at that time, we at Radical, like I mentioned a couple minutes ago, like we were going to take down the behemoths, right? We wanted to beat them, right? We didn't want to be them; we wanted to beat them.
Dude, I remember when the San Francisco offices were paid for and the chairs were bought, and
we're making a baseball game, we're making a NASCAR game, we're making a football game.
Oh, right. I just interviewed Joe Nichols at XDS 19, the External Development Summit, and we talked a little bit about that. And then ESPN pulled out. In the middle of a trade, middle of E3, was it?
It was really sudden. Right? We were just guns blazing every day, just trying to make 6 different sports games simultaneously. Right, and we didn't know better, right?
No,
we thought that we were honestly going to take over the world with that line of sports games. But what's amazing about every so-called failure is what you learn from it.
Totally.
Right. You learn that failure doesn't mean the end of the line. It means like you carry that experience through.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, and then Radical went on to make lots of incredible games.
That's right. They took a different path. Making those great action games like Hulk and Prototype. And Simpsons Hit and Run. So
and then the Wilkinson brothers, one of them went to EA. Kevin.
He was at EA for quite a long time on the EA Sports games, and then Ian, I think still is at Hothead. Right? They're doing a great job down the road there.
Yep. It's amazing. You came in on hockey, and you've been on hockey again for the last few years. How has it changed, and what's the same?
I think When I dreamed of working on hockey, way back when, like, it was pretty simple, right?
Yeah.
I don't think anyone who played those classic hockey games fooled themselves into thinking it was a simulation.
Yeah.
Right? It was just a great game that you could play with your buddies on the couch.
Yes.
Right? We just had fun, and all the players and all the teams were sort of caricatured versions of their real life counterparts,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But now, that the consoles are so much more powerful. Now that there is, a mode that caters to every different hockey fantasy, right? You can play completely sim hockey.
Yep.
You can play in an arcade-inspired experience like threes, right? You can play pond hockey in ones. You can play EA Sports Hockey League and have your own virtual beer league team. There's so many different ways to enjoy hockey that it's really tough pinpointing who is a fan of EA Sports NHL?
Right.
It's all of those and
Right,
more.
right.
Right? There are people who love being a GM. There are people who love, every different way to play hockey. And so I think that's the challenge now is, it used to be that everyone just pointed to that one game. Hey, just make that game.
Yeah.
But now everyone points to a slightly different game. And
I'm curious if you guys have done statistics on the return player that started with the 90s Sega Genesis NHL games and has stayed with it, and maybe aren't even a fan of hockey, but they just like the real sport, but they just like the video game.
Yeah, I think a lot of people who played, let's say, NHL 94 and learned the stars like Denny Savard and Jeremy Roenick and Wayne Gretzky, at that time, they just wanted a fun game, right? And now we deliver a fun game, and we do something that's authentic to NHL hockey. But then, people can come in for other motivations, right? To create their own custom player, to carve their own type of career that is like no other player. And so it's really tricky to manage this. We hear from all these different kinds
You've
of fans
got a lot of
all
people
the
to
time,
keep happy, don't you? Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So we just chip away at that, right? I mean, you look at the screen here, we've got tons of different modes
Dude,
here.
I was playing it today, and I played it in your office a couple of weeks ago, and I can't keep still, and I can't not play it without screaming. I'm alone, and I'm going, whoa, which is a good sign that it's always fun to play the game. But what it looks like to me is like this is the zenith of this gen with hockey. Like there's a couple things that I noticed. The reflections off of the visors and the eyes, the piercing eyes of players from underneath those masks, and it just looks so close to photoreal already. But also in the stands on replays, you don't have dead-eyed, dull-eyed fans now.
Yeah.
You have them looking in different directions, and it's
That's
so
right.
When it freezes.
There's a wide range of emotions
It's
and
really
intensities,
cool,
right? That match up with what's happening on the ice. If it's a home crowd, if it's an away crowd, right, or a home goal or an away goal, I should say, right?
Yeah.
The crowd reacts differently.
That's amazing.
And who would have thought, 20 plus years ago that we would have that kind of fidelity, right? We're actually drawing 18,000 fans in the stands, right? They're not cardboard cutouts. They're actually 3D humans.
Is it maddening, or is it just part of the process? Is it like you guys are making a hockey game, but then you've got a team devoted to making sweaters and scarves on these people?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people say, like, why can't you just make gameplay great? And we do have a great gameplay team making the gameplay great, but then we have other people in other disciplines who are making the rinks look great. They're making the lighting look great.
Yes.
They're making the player likeness is fantastic.
Yeah.
Right? All the presentation layer, right? The commentary and the motion graphics, right? They're making that great. All the online support, right? The servers, the matchmaking. There's so many more disciplines involved these days that I think some people who are really core fans go, well, why don't you just make all those people work on gameplay? I'm like, well, that's not the way games are now.
No, I mean, we're approaching, and I really want to talk to you sort of hypothetically about what next gen could mean for sports games. I've been saying this for years. I feel like the more photoreal that sports games get, the more mainstream that video games will be. Because when people cannot make a really quick, they can't discern from the video game and the reality, people are going to be like, oh my God, I've got to start playing more video games because they look so incredible. And I feel like with every iteration of hardware, we're getting closer and closer to that.
And I would actually argue that just trying to look photorealistic isn't the end game anymore.
No.
Right? Because we know that with the right
better.
tech and with the right craft, they're going to look just like television, right?
Yeah.
But really, the step beyond for next gen is how do you express yourself? How do you empower players to make their own choices? Whether it's through likenesses, whether it's through their actions on the ice,
right.
The types of scenarios they play, right? And really empowering players to choose exactly what experience they want.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay, we're going to go picture-in-picture, Blake, and take us in. And guys, I want to get your questions. If you've got questions for Will, this is your time. I know there's a lot of NHL diehards out there that are watching this live. So just do me a favor. I got one right here. Sam, I am 111. Will the Winter Classic return in NHL 20, and what about the Heritage Classic making the cut?
Yeah, I mean, we look at those authentic NHL events that happen every year, and we have to kind of be careful because we're not the hugest team, right? We have a lot of passionate hockey fans on our team, but we also
I'm going to stop you for a second. And that must be tough for you guys every year because FIFA's got all the money and it's got the story mode.
They sell a few more copies than we do.
And Madden's making tons of money, and they got the story mode and all the actors, and you guys just hustle to make a fun game.
They get at least $1,000 or $2,000 more in their budget to work with. So when we look at events that are kind of one-offs, or where we would have to make something like Fenway Park, right, and it only happens once in the calendar, and it's really hard for us to recreate those one-off venues. But we look at the spirit of a Heritage Classic, a Winter Classic, and go, well, what makes it fun? It's the thrill of playing in a venue that's not an NHL arena, right? That's outdoors, that has that crispness, that has the snow falling, that has that gorgeous lighting, that has crowds that are out there because of the sheer joy, not because they're corporate season ticket holders. Right? Those are the kinds of vibes that we create in our outdoor rinks in modes for modes like 1s and 3s and Eschel that you can just play in these great places like a farm or even at a mountaintop, or we have a new venue called the Canal. Right, this is something that
like
people
the Rideau,
the Rideau Canal in Ottawa, right, the world's largest skating rink, and those aren't the ones that isn't the place that people are writing lots of letters in, but when they see it, they're going to go, aha, I've always wanted to play hockey there. And they're going to play there over and over and over again.
That is wonderful. Okay, so why don't you take us in, and we'll get to all of your questions, trust me, but you take us into some of your favorite modes on the game.
So something
we're tiny, tiny little box right there.
All
that's
right,
us.
hey, that's me. It's a little
two little mice versions of us right now. Okay.
So one thing I want to say, we do have all of the modes that all of our fans have grown to love. We've added a couple of new modes this year. We've added an offline version of 1s. People loved 1s online last year. It was the 1v1v1 free-for-all pond hockey. Now we have a local multiplayer version, which I think we'll fire up in a minute here. Also, we've added some depth to World of Chill. That was our online multiplayer ecosystem that we introduced last year that had 1s and 3s and EA Sports Hockey League. We've intensified 1s and 3s by introducing new modes called Eliminator, which is basically inspired by Battle Royale.
Right.
But you don't land on an island and shoot each other until there's the last man standing. That's not how it works. But we take inspiration from these modes where you can just sort of jump in with tons of other players online, and then basically you play until there is one player left standing.
That's
right?
awesome.
And you just have to string together 3 wins in a row or 4 wins in a row, and there's the intensity of when you're knocked out, you have to go back to round 1.
You guys could have done a total crossover with Goon or Slapstick and Battle Royale.
Maybe there are opportunities there.
There you go.
Yeah,
next year.
You should join our team.
Yeah.
You're an idea factory. Also in franchise mode, we've added coaches that you can hire and fire.
Yeah.
So for those people who love being that armchair GM, right? Last year we added scouts, and this year you have 7 different coaching positions in your organization. You can choose from over 200 fictional coaches.
Yep.
We like to be diverse and inclusive, and so we have people from different nationalities. We also have female coaches.
Do you have the real coaches too?
We don't have real coaches this year. We wanted to go for maximum choice and maximum diversity. So, let's say you're a progressive GM and you want to have a staff full of female coaches. You can actually do that in our franchise mode this year.
What makes a choice like that? Because you guys don't make these big sort of shifts without looking at the data. Did you sort of talk with players and say, do you mind if we pull the real NHL coaches out of the experience?
Yeah, I mean, it's something that we considered, but that idea wasn't ready for prime time.
Okay.
So if we can't have the real coaches, what is the next best thing? And
Gotcha.
We look at what is best for gameplay.
Right.
Right. So to give our players maximum choice, we came up with over 200 fictional coaches for you to choose from.
Awesome.
That doesn't close the door on licensed coaches, but they aren't sort of automatic like the NHL Players Association, where, hey, you play a game in the NHL, you're part of this association, part of this union, and then they come en masse to EA Sports NHL.
Right.
The coaches don't have that kind of arrangement, so we talk to them and we see, but right now we think our players will like the choice fictional coaches that they have.
Awesome. The game, is it in early access right now?
It is in early access.
So you're getting feedback right now?
That's right. It's been in the wild since last Wednesday night.
Okay.
Yeah, and we've been getting lots of feedback from those early access players. It's always great to jump in and also play with some of these people in the wild.
Yeah.
Right. We test the game like so much in the office, but being able to play with players who are most dedicated fans, right?
Yeah,
The people willing to go in there right away and play their 10 hours in early access. But then premium deluxe edition buyers, I should say, they'll get to go online today, tomorrow, and then worldwide launch on Friday. But it's always a thrill in the office. It's a little bit nail biting, right? Because anything can happen out there in TV land, right?
Yeah, yes.
But this launch was very, very smooth. We saw very, very few issues in early access.
Well, one thing that I liked about our conversation about it, and even the video that you guys put out, the gameplay video, is that you directly referenced the last game, and you directly referenced, without throwing it under the bus, because I always say that I hate that with sports game interviews. It's like, well, your last game didn't suck. You don't have to talk about it like it was total garbage and you made every wrong decision. You didn't do that with this. You said you did a lot of good things with NHL 19, the RPM skating mechanics.
We know that there's always so much that we can improve upon, right? It's because we listen to our fans. It's because we're passionate about the game ourselves. We play the game, right? We have ESHL clubs on our team, and we play, right? And so when players show us sort of bloopers, right, of shots that don't connect, right, and it happens over and over again. Let's look that in the eye and go, okay, NHL 19's shooting was not as good as we could have made it.
Yes.
So NHL 20, we've revamped all of the shooting in the game.
Right.
Right, with literally hundreds of new shooting animations for every context. And so, every time you attempt a one-timer, every time you make that pass into the slot, we're going to select the best shot for your players.
Do you guys ever get feedback that just cuts deep? Does
it?
Yeah, and you got to carry that around for
because the team cares so much, right?
Well, totally. I mean, we've had Rammer on the show a ton, and I've tweeted at him, congratulations, or when I've reviewed the games or whatever. And then in my feed, I get a whole bunch of angry NHL fans. It seems like they're the first ones to jump on and voice their opinion.
But we're always logging feedback. We've always got this running backlog of things that we want to improve and we want to polish more. Something that we always try to preserve is gameplay balance, right? Because our fans will play literally hundreds of games in a season, right? And they don't want that balance, to go out the window. They don't want players to find a loophole or an exploit that we don't actually attempt to fix, right? And especially now that we're getting into events like the Gaming World Championships, right? Players are playing from day one at launch, hoping to become that player who goes to Vegas and wins $50,000 and gets a check from Gary Bettman.
Well, and honestly, NHL has always been a consistently enjoyable game to watch. I can't think of I love NBA, and the Visual Concepts guys have been doing an incredible job with the 2K franchise. But NHL also has that super accessibility, and it's just so fast, and the hits are big, and there's a bit of like, it's so dangerous, like just the idea of cruising that fast on skates and sticks flying around. It just looks like
I think a lot
of people
could
get hurt.
Who watch hockey, NHL hockey on TV, they have no idea until they actually go to a game. Just how fast the game, how tough the players are. How a guy can get just leveled, and then 2 seconds later he'll be up and skating at full speed again, right? So that's the kind of athleticism, that kind of toughness that we recreate in EA Sports NHL. And so I think, this year with all of the gameplay improvements, I think we're even closer to that feeling of being there, of that flow of the game, how every player is involved in the play at all times. I think people who pick up NHL 20 are really going to see and feel that difference in game speed.
Awesome. We've been on the option mode here, the mode selection mode for a long time.
Let's look at the game.
Play the game, and everybody's going to judge your skills because you're one of the guys that made the game. But I'll get some of the questions, and if you guys have any questions for Will, just shut them out right here. But Jamie Andrews has one. So how you doing, Jamie? Says, how does one team keep creating these amazing games ready for every September? That is the question, right? How do you guys get the fortitude?
Like Jim Poplinski used to say on the Flames broadcast, we have stick-to-itiveness.
How many?
It's not easy for us to release every September like clockwork. So I'm just going to pick Connor McDavid because I'll admit on air, I'm an Oilers fan, diehard Oilers fan. We have a diehard Oilers fan here in the audience here.
Nice, Jason.
So we're going to represent here.
Very
cool.
But
I think it is that sort of experience of the team, knowing that we have to deliver a quality experience and that we're almost calibrated to that cadence of every 12 months, every September, we've got to deliver a game that, our fans are going to love. And so, there's a lot of priority setting. There's a lot of, early play testing, right, to make sure that we're dialing in our gameplay, our balance, our controls, our physics. That happens, usually sometime in the winter where, we'll play the new game and it quickly eclipses the old game.
Yeah.
Right? And, I play back and forth all the time. So this last cycle I was playing 19 and 20 and going back and forth. And there was a tipping point in the winter where I can't play 19 anymore.
Yeah, cool. That's what you want.
Yeah,
and that's what you want
from
from
the velocity we want, right? To make sure that we're polishing the game through to the summer, through to launch in September. So I'm showing you ones now here, and this is our outdoor pond hockey experience that was introduced in NHL 19. But
this is your cover boy here?
That's our cover boy, Austin Matthews.
Yeah. In street clothes.
That's right.
Shell.
Yeah, you don't often see NHL stars playing in casual gear, but because this is more of a casual mode, pick up and play, we really wanted to lower the barrier of entry to this mode. So instead of your own created player, you're playing as NHL stars, alumni, and
I'm in the way. I have a large noggin.
I wasn't going to say it myself. I'm a gracious guest.
Okay, all right. Question from Sam I Am 111. How was the decision to use actors for the commentary over real announcers made this year?
Yeah, that's a really good question because our commentators this year, James Cybulski and Ray Ferraro, are amazing. That's one thing, but they are not actors. They are bona fide sports broadcasters.
All right, we're clarifying that right here.
Ray Ferraro was in our commentary team before. He was sort of the third man between the benches.
Yep.
Now he is promoted to full-on color commentary. And then James Cybulski, who is our new play-by-play man, he is, don't know where you're asking the question from, but he is actually on Sports Talk Radio here in Vancouver every single morning.
I don't know where Sam I Am 111 is, but he always has the good questions. Adrian Leon, does it still have the Canadian Hockey League in the game?
Yes, you can still go in to be a pro and start in the CHL. You can play through a CHL season. Or you can just start with the Memorial Cup and then try to get drafted after that.
Okay.
So CHL still here.
Awesome. You can take this question back to this comment back to Rammer. NHL 2006 on was clearly made by a Montreal fan. The virtual team was a million times better than the real thing.
No
Rick
comment.
Savage
no
with a savage comment right there.
No comment from me. Before my time.
Silver Aruz. I hope I'm saying that right. Arouse. Will Retro Mode ever come back, and will we ever get an NHL 94 port included with a special edition?
Nope.
We had that before, right?
There was a 20th anniversry of NHL 94 mode.
Yep.
We'll see. When's the next anniversary coming up? Well, we'll see.
25, right?
25 could
Are
be.
we past
I don't know.
Yeah, 25 would be the next one. What an amazing! I have you don't know, like NHL on the Genesis. I had roommates. I talked about this in my Sega thing. I lived with 6 other people, and we played Sega Genesis NHL hockey like
it was
crazy.
kind of a system seller back then. Hey,
Amazing,
people
man.
just wanted to play hockey.
It's so important to two games, the history of this game. Another one from Sam I Am 111 with a focus on customization in NHL 20. When will we see a EA Game Face become compatible with NHL? That's a great question.
That is a really good question.
Sam I Am.
We have looked at Game Face, and it hasn't really been right for NHL for a number of technical reasons.
Yeah.
We don't want to ship something that is not the right quality for our fans, and so it's something we'll continue to look at, but nothing yet.
Nothing yet.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see what we got here.
I lost.
Rick Savage with another Savage. NHL 2K15 was too easy. The goalie could be easily fooled by skating. Scores every time. Okay. Got that one. I played both Hulk and Ultimate Destruction. We're talking about some radical stuff in there.
Vancouver video game history there.
We got a Wayne is bleeding from the head comment. I think that's
from Swingers, I believe.
Oh, from Swingers?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, yes. Amazing movie, right? Some classic NHL stuff in there. What do we got here? NHL 94. Question, how do you keep the game fresh every year? What is the creative process?
I think what's really helped in recent years is we've really tried to embrace a broader definition of hockey.
Yeah.
It used to be before, hey, it's just the NHL, right? Hey, it's on the front cover, NHL, that's all we ever do. But in recent years, by expanding the definition to include arcade-inspired hockey, right?
Yeah.
Playing as mascots, playing pond hockey, 1v1v1, no rules. Having the customization, the casual gear, right? The lifestyle gear, and really finding different ways that are legitimately hockey, right?
Yeah.
Not everyone makes it to the NHL. People are playing hockey right now somewhere in some place, wearing whatever they want, right? With whatever rules they want.
And I've seen that evolution across the sports games. It's not just so much about reliving the league moments.
Yeah.
It's about sort of getting into the philosophy and the spirit of the sport and sort of showing the joy of it all.
I think there's the love of the sport, right,
Yeah.
which can be embodied by the NHL, but then there's the love of the game,
Right.
which includes so much more than just the NHL.
I'm grabbing a controller. Let's play.
All right. I'm going to represent my hometown team,
Okay.
the blue and orange. Oh, we have a question here.
Oh, yes. Warco.
Did the design of NHL 20 did game streaming, like the popularity of Twitch, did that come into like what you wanted to emphasize with any of the modes?
Yeah, the question is about game streaming, and did that factor into NHL 20? Absolutely, because some of our most devout fans, they are streaming, right? They stream constantly. There's players like Nasher and Tactics and a guy named Chad with a J. They're constantly streaming their gameplay. And so we designed, in particular, the new presentation package to be higher energy and more in your face and more suited to streaming, whether it's on Twitch or if it's using, the first party, Sony and Microsoft streaming services like Mixer. But we really want, our game to be more, sort of accessible, right? Not everyone knows exactly what is going on if you happen to stumble upon one of these streams. And so you're going to see, when we get into play now here, you're going to see the new commentary, you're going to hear the new commentary and see the new presentation package that we designed specifically for streaming.
And Chell is not a phrase that you guys invented.
Chell is what the kids say.
Yeah.
It's like, let's chell, Vic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's about the game, though.
Yeah, it's NHL.
Yeah.
Right? And it's specifically about playing with their buddies in EA Sports NHL.
Which is amazing.
So we embrace that.
That must
right?
feel incredible.
It is. It's kinda cool.
Is it all across the world? Is it more specific to Canada? Or?
Yeah, that's a good question. It comes from all over the place, but
Yeah.
I was blown away just recently when someone in real life said Chell to me. I'm like, wow.
That's amazing.
Incredible.
And so you've embraced it, and so World of Chell is all about sort of
Yeah, it's all
creating
about
the-
playing with your friends.
Right.
Yeah, it's all about that camaraderie of practicing together, forming a club together,
Cool.
competing against the best in the world, and just dominating together.
Okay. So I'm Vancouver.
All right, I'm Edmonton.
I'm going to try to remember the controls, and I'm going to do my best.
I will level you.
Oh,
and
you did? Oh.
No mercy, Vic. My team has missed the playoffs 12 of the last 13 years.
Oh, my God, really?
So we are out for blood.
And the Canucks keep getting in there, but not doing so well.
Have a good core.
Yeah.
Oh, Besser's out.
Oh, my God, you killed
Sorry.
my dude. Man. All right, payback.
All right, here we go. Ooh.
Come on.
David looking.
Oh!
Oh, off the post.
Oh, look at you with the cross passes. That's amazing. Oh! Oh,
Here we go.
nice. Good D.
Oh, McDavid runs into a wall. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. This looks good.
Oh, my God. This brings back a lot of memories. See, when I review these games, I play online, but I don't have that couch co-op thing now. And I miss it. Or that couch competitiveness.
Yeah, I think people are going to love, Play Now is still one of our most played modes because, you can just get together with your buddies and play on the couch, and then, adding ones now is just going to expand that.
I love it. You just keep talking because I'm trying to concentrate here.
What's the spread here? What spread am I trying to beat?
Was that offside? Nice.
Was
Got a
offside.
question here from, is it possible, from Jordan Cunningham, is it possible to have special 3 versus 3 team games like zombies versus robots in NHL hits? Did you work on hits?
That is funny. I did work on hits.
Yeah, I bet
I've
you
worked
did.
on hockey games at a few different places, but we do have some special stuff
Cool.
not announced yet, but hopefully something like that will surface in NHL 20 during the year.
A little Plants vs. Zombies mode?
I can't say.
Nice. Beagle. Oh, laid up.
Sam Gagner, former Canuck.
No.
Oh!
Nice.
So that was a neat shot because my
See,
pass
look
was a little bit off, and he didn't get all of his power on that shot.
And you see, people aren't looking direct. They're not looking right at the camera, right? They're looking all over the place.
Yeah, they're
It's
actually
so-
following the action.
It's so cool. It blows me away. All right. I haven't got the face-offs down.
Got to wait for the ref to drop the puck.
Yes, I know.
Oh, the pride of Surrey, Jujar Kara.
I got you.
Kara, make me proud.
No.
I live in Surrey.
Oh. Oh, yes. Oh,
Trying to represent.
I fouled you. Or not fouled. I got a penalty. I'm thinking of basketball. Let's see. We got EDM defense is better than their offense. Come on. Come on. Really? EA, it's like you're not even trying. This is from Leaf Fan B. Question, would it be possible to get Hockey Legends mode where you can choose from a wide array of Hall of Famers? This is from
Good
G-Rock Moves.
question. We kind of already have that. Last year we did introduce alumni players. This year we have
No!
oh
Yes,
this
keep
year we have
talking, keep talking,
33
you keep missing.
new alumni teams, including just about every team in the league right now. Vegas doesn't have one because obviously they've only been around for 2 years.
Yeah.
But we've got the classic Nordiques team. We've got the Whalers. We've got Hartford. But 33
Oh,
new
you
alumni
leveled
teams
me,
that you can
man.
play and play now. They're just so much fun
Nice.
to play.
Did you actually snag that? Did you switch players and grab that, or was that the?
I did.
Amazing.
I know.
You know what's
Oh no!
You can watch all 5 of these players on the ice at the same time. I'm sort of like a dog chasing the ball right now.
Oh no! I gave it up.
Oh!
Little stick lift there. Oh!
Totally tripped you.
Drew another penalty. Oops. Vic is gooning it.
Oopsies! Is the announcer's echo in game or from the stream? Is it from the stream? Oh, it's probably from. We're in a live setting here at the VFS Cafe. If you're just joining a Pixel Abode, so we have it echoed into the room so people can hear us as we're playing, and then mics are picking it up as well. So it's probably what you're hearing. Yeah. Somewhat unavoidable in a live venue type setting like this. Okay, come on. Oh, yes. Oh,
There we go.
You've got the power play goal. I loved your work on Mod Nation Racers, William. This is from
thanks.
Jamie. The best racing game on the PS3. When you think
Thank
about that game, don't you think that now is the perfect time to kind of bring it back on this hardware?
You know, write your emails and love letters to Sony.
I know, right?
Yeah, that was another game which was, you know, I've been talking about teams where, you know, people just have that simpatico rapport, that passion for the game.
Yes.
That was another one where the entire team just rallied around the vision and just put their hearts and souls into that game.
And
Yeah,
I always
love Mod
thought,
Nation Racers.
I mean, UFG was a very special company. That and Sleeping Dogs were your two
Yeah.
launch games. Pretty hard to make an open world action game and a kart racing game that
Well, we did
competes
it.
with the
We
best
did it.
as your first titles, and you did it. Incredible.
Yeah, those are great times. Really great people we worked with at United Front
Totally.
Games.
Yeah, I always think of what the PS4 hardware could do with Mod Nation, man. Because it was, oh, look at you, show off.
Little dangle there.
It was,
That's the pride of Surrey, BC. Jujar Kara, right there.
the last hockey game I played was that awful Stanley Cup game on the Super Nintendo. This is from Abby Jameson.
Oh,
She
yeah.
says, this looks much better.
This
I
one,
hope so.
This one will not make you lose your lunch like that one. The Mode 7 rotation on the ice was a bit much. Yeah.
You started on PS1, that era, or did you do any cartridge games?
Yeah, PS1. That was where I started. PS1 and Saturn.
Crazy.
Yeah, good times.
Awesome. Okay, here we go. You guys also changed the information on the game.
That's right.
too,
We changed the score clock. We decided to free up all that screen real estate at the top left-hand corner and went, hey, gameplay deserves that real estate. So we put the score clock at the bottom.
Changing from the way.
Oh,
Look
so
at you.
and you're going to see on this goal that we have this nice big goal banner that's keyed in with the team liveries.
Right.
We've got the
You
nice
just
big
wanted to show
headshots.
that.
I
wanted
did,
to
I
make
did.
sure we
Right
could
on
show
cue,
that
right
off.
on cue.
Yeah, it was important
Yeah, you're right on script.
for this demo that.
Also, when you're playing with your custom teams in EA Sports Hockey League, whatever colors you choose, the overlays adopt your team colors.
Awesome. Another one from Sam I Am 111. What element from other hockey games you've worked on would you most like to bring into? Look, this guy is would most like to bring into the EA NHL games. Awesome question.
That is a really good question. You know,
Just showing off with his good questions. Making me look bad, Sam. I Am 111.
you know, I might get in trouble for this, but I really want to see a PC version.
Yeah.
You know, I love the renaissance in PC gaming, so you know we talk
Totally.
about a PC version. It's going to happen when the right time comes.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, you totally should be making a PC game. I actually emailed Don Matrick one year and asking him why SSX wasn't on the PC.
Oh yeah, good
You
question.
know, like there were these games that were just so phenomenal in the console, but the PC could have benefited from
Double
because there
hit
was
there.
nothing like it.
Yeah, that untapped snowboarding PC market.
Yeah.
I've never seen a double hit like the one you let me do on your players.
Yeah, it was all
It's,
scripted.
that's the
Get
great thing
it!
about hockey is I always see something new. Thanks, Vic.
Oh.
Oh, look at this.
The computer was
Oh,
much
I
easier to
hesitated.
score on, by the way. Oh, I kept passing it away. Oh. Oh, I'm sweating here.
I know. It's
What is it?
intense.
Was that the first period?
I'm all about the Oilers trivia.
Okay.
Oscar Clefbaum. When I lived in Sweden,
Yeah.
my next door neighbor was Oscar Clefbaum's cousin.
No way.
Yeah.
Hockey was following
Small
you
world.
wherever
Small
you were.
world.
Was that the siren call? Were you waiting for hockey to pull you back?
You know, I loved my time working at Ghost Games on
Yeah.
Need for Speed. You know, I'm just blessed to have been able to work on racing games and hockey games. But you know, I was away from the woman I loved, and I had to come back to Canada for her.
Oh, and EA worked
Yeah.
with you on that, made
Yeah.
that happen. That's
Yeah.
pretty rad. That's awesome. So how long has this stretch now been with EA?
So I came back from Sweden to Canada about 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I
But
came
you
back
were-
for Angel 19 and then now 20. Yeah.
Well, Sweden was also EA, though.
That's
Ghost
right.
Games,
Yeah, because EA has so many studios around the world.
Yeah.
23, 24. I don't know. I've lost count.
So did you go right to Ghost Games after UFG? Was that the first place that you went to? Or?
Yeah. I dabbled in a few other things. Tried my hand at kids games for a while.
Okay.
Yeah, a little palate cleanser there. But then, you know, the chance to go back to work on Need for Speed was just, you know, couldn't resist it.
Yeah. Yeah, and they've got a new one coming out this year. Did you
That's
work
right.
on that at all?
Need for Speed Heats. Nope, I didn't work
No,
on that.
okay.
I can take no credit
Okay.
for how awesome it looks.
But all your buds are over
Really
there.
cheering for that team and the great job they've done on it.
Yeah, they've done some beautiful work. We just need to see that full-fledged,
I think so, yeah.
defining game from
I
that
think it's
studio.
reminding a lot of long-term NFS fans
Yeah.
of their favorite titles from you know that franchise's storied history.
Which you worked on here.
Yes, some of it. Some of it.
Did you do Hot Pursuit on the PlayStation 1?
Hot Pursuit 2?
Yeah?
Yeah,
Amazing.
did that one on PS2.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Incredible game.
for a while the highest rated Need for Speed. For a while.
Sam I Am 111 also says the Switch needs this game.
Oh,
The Switch needs a hockey game.
yeah.
in
We
a bad way.
we talk about that too, and you know we'll see. We'll see. Stay tuned. I don't know. It's above my pay grade.
Yeah. Oh,
There's Jujar Kara again.
even though I'm terrible at this,
Oh,
I
coughed it
feel
up.
like I'm in control. You know what I'm
and
saying?
that's what we're going after.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. Sloppy icing. Sloppy icing.
Can you give us a tease of what happens with Next Gen? Not to slight this in any way.
Yeah.
This is beautiful work, but what happens? How does it improve? What does it look
There's so much up in the air right now. We're just starting to wrap our heads around it. We've got some ideas.
Mm-hmm.
I think something I alluded to earlier is how can we let people have their personal experience right, whenever they want it. That's something that I think Next Gen is probably going to facilitate, right? Greater power, more storage, always connected online. Insane load times, insanely short load times, I should say.
Yeah.
So we'll see about that, right? And I think graphical fidelity, obviously.
Yeah. Have you guys done any early renders to see what's possible with everything cranked up to 11?
I mean, we dabble
Yeah.
in stuff.
Yeah. It's coming, man. I mean, the announcements are coming soon, right?
Here we go, Oscar Clefbaum. My former neighbor's cousin.
Oh, man.
Wired it from the point there.
Jamie Andrews says, how do you get all the voice lines, grunts, and anthems in the game?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's great that we have our own recording studio, and so we have this rigorous schedule of having the commentators come in, week in and week out. It's nice that our commentators are based in Vancouver now, so after they do their day job, they can come in the studio and record tons of commentary.
That's great.
But then we also have recording sessions for, that on ice sounds, grunts from the coaches or the players or the crowd. It's nice having all that capability at EA Vancouver in-house.
Did you do everything for the game in Vancouver, or did you guys have some external teams work on stuff?
Pretty much all in Vancouver, but the nice thing is, we also collaborate with our teams at Tiburon.
Yep.
Right. Often our teams get similar ideas or have better solutions to the same problems, and so lots of collab between teams. Not just in Vancouver, but also the other sports teams.
And this is on the Frostbite engine, like a lot of the EAs.
This one is not on Frostbite.
No.
Yeah. It's because. With Frostbite, that's a major migration of our code base, and we want to make sure that if and when we change game engines, we want the experience to always be better and not potentially worse.
Right. And Frostbite wasn't really engineered for hockey when it was starting.
I think it was engineered for planes and shooting.
Yes.
In tanks.
Yes. Did you do?
But having said that, FIFA and Madden look great on Frostbite.
Yes.
So, yeah, we'll see.
Has NHL ever been on Frostbite?
I don't think so.
No? Okay.
Jujhar Khaira, pride of Surrey.
Come on. Oh, yes. There we go. Got a shot on goal.
Shot on goal.
That's about as close as I get right now.
One SOG.
Yeah. You really need to be able to control all 5 players at once, or have a really clear understanding of where everybody is.
That's kind of the great thing about our online team play is everyone can control, their own position, right?
Yeah.
And just play that position, know your role, and then when you win as a team, it's like there's nothing more thrilling than that.
So you're passing, and before the puck gets to your player, you've already switched out other players, so you're in control, right? Because this game.
Also something we added last year is being able to select a specific player.
Yeah.
Yeah, using the right stick, you can actually press in the direction of the player that you want to take control of, or take control of the last man back.
It's fantastic. What do you guys think? It looks really good, doesn't it? Does it feel like you're watching a real sport? It's crazy. Yeah, I feel like, you guys must be moving on to next gen now. Like the core A team wouldn't work on PS4.
We might have some people working on that.
Yeah.
It's beyond my pay grade.
But that's what this game feels like. It feels like I've just started to play it, but it feels like the peak. Go! Oh!
Speaking seriously about going forward is, when I say that we don't want to take any steps backward, I really mean that. That, I think some of our fans go, well, what did you actually do this year? You just updated the rosters. But, I cannot say to you hard enough on this broadcast that, our team really busts their butts on making sure the animations are great, making sure the gameplay is great, the controls are better, right?
Yep.
Vic, you made that comment that you feel like you're always in control.
Yeah.
And that is what we aim for this year. So I'm really glad you pointed that out.
It feels so good when you score. I remembered when I did that ages ago in a different universe, different time.
Oh, bodies everywhere.
I'm just hacking. Oh! Oh, come on! Oh, you're going easy on me. Go! Oh, get in there! Oh my God, that's awesome.
Zach Cassidy, another former Canuck.
Oh.
We've made all the shots more powerful in NHL 20, so you get a lot more scoring chances. But then also it's tied in with the shot accuracy this year, so
Yeah.
a lot more scoring chances, but you still have to hit the net.
You got and you can place it in the corners if you need it, if you want it there. Oh my God. I dream of the day Konami puts the Fox engine out for a revival of Blades of Steel. That's from Sam I Am 111. Taz says, let the Wookiee win. Shoot low for rebounds. Questions from Waffle Fries. Do you plan on adding advanced stats for future games for us Oilers stats nerds?
Oh yeah, that you're talking about things like Corsi and whatnot. That's something we've looked at, and yeah, we'll see.
Crazy. Are you in the game? Did they model you and put you in?
I'm not in this game.
No.
But I will offer you another bit of trivia.
Yeah.
In NHL Hits 2002, I am the Team Japan goalie.
No way.
Yep.
I'm in one of those NHL games, the NHL Hits games, because we did the video for it. We did.
The behind the scenes.
Yeah, I can't remember which one it was. Adam Boyes was working with.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, he went on to do some great things with Sony.
That's right.
Oh, here we go. Oh.
So I'm showing you guys how not to play the game. That's been my lesson today. Come on. Nice.
Oh, coughed it up.
Who's the best at the game on the team?
Oh man, not me. We do have great tournaments
Rammer's
on our
good,
team.
Right?
Oh, Rammer's really good.
Yeah.
It's very rewarding to beat him.
Yeah. Do you ever see Dave Littman at all? Does he come down and visit you guys? I know he's busy on other things.
I hear he's around somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, but bless him. He was in charge of some pretty great titles.
Yes, he was. He was Mr. Hockey for a long time. Look at these hits. Incredible. I got to fire up NHL Hits 2020 for William. Sam I Am 111 is going to do that. Or 2002, I mean. Question, is there a big head mode from Jamie Andrews?
Oh,
Was that directed at me? Were you talking to me?
There isn't a big head mode. There's a certain line we don't cross. We try to keep things within the realm of reality.
Yep.
Yeah. So big heads they're just a step too far for us right now.
Okay.
Oh. Giorgio Kara, second goal. They're going nuts in Surrey right now.
Can we have a power outage, or somebody bring a blindfold to the show? Or yeah, this is why I don't play in chat that much. That is the normal size, yes. Thank you for that, JTVJ. Question, do you miss having competition? Do you feel like you would push harder on game development? It's a great one from Darth Nillick. If there was another hockey game to compete with, do you miss that competition?
Funny, I had a talk with one of our guys just recently about that. I think we wouldn't be opposed to it. I do miss the days when it was fun kind of anticipating what other people were doing.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, and just the intrigue of that, and then, the big reveals every year.
Yep.
And, always having that pressure to want to, leapfrog the competition. Having said that, we love that all the hockey fans come to us. But there's no shortage of pressure that our fans put on us, right? I mentioned that we listen to our fans, and that is 100% the truth.
Yeah, I guess the expectation when you're the only game in town is to be amazing, right? Oh my God.
That's a hat trick.
This is just
for the pride of Surrey, Drew Darkera.
Okay, Will, you win. Actually, I think that's good. We have more show to get to, but this game is phenomenal and super fun, and even though I'm terrible at it.
Thanks so much.
It is so cool that you came and whooped my butt. But, honestly, if I had even scored one goal on a guy that made the game, it wouldn't have looked good. So I held back.
You're such a pal.
That's the story. All right, you guys, thank you so much, Will. We've got a little bit more fun stuff for you, including my final look at Gears 5. So I put ample time into Gears 5, but of course this is one of those games that's going to be persistent, and there's going to be lots of cool updates, like Dave Bautista is going to be a playable character in the game, and I'm sure that the Coalition has got lots of plans for the longevity of this title, which is really about playing online with your buds and getting into all kinds of hilarious hijinks and lots of great explosions and combat scenarios and water cooler moments, and Gears 5 delivers all of that.
We got Jovies! Lay into them with that thing!
It's like 4 games in one, so let's talk about the campaign, because I wasn't able to have finished it when I did my first thoughts, but I have finished the campaign. And overall, I really enjoyed the campaign, not necessarily because the gameplay was so revolutionary or blowing me away, but mostly because I really feel like the Coalition is building these characters like they're making them out of rock, like they're such a part of the firmament of the history of video games now. And a large part of that obviously has to do with, the epic unveiling of Gears of War, and Gears 1, 2, and 3 were really, really successful and phenomenal titles. But what's happened since the Coalition has taken over is they're kind of taking advantage of the passage of time, and they're really creating lineage across these different characters and their families. And so you really start to feel for the value of these individuals that are in the game, which is not something that you would think at first blush with Gears of War. But I think that's one of the secret weapons of Gears of War right from the beginning, is that they've had characters that you really cared more than you would think you would about these, just giant brutes. But they, were pursuing their wives, and some of them would get lost for a while, and you'd really care about them. But now with Gears 4 and with Gears 5, there are kids involved, and there's gray hairs involved, and all of the actors have come back, and you really you grow with these characters and you grow with these storylines.
I'm sorry.
Gears 5 obviously points the camera at Kate, and we get to see a lot of what has happened and transpired in her history. She is still carrying all of the weight of some of the decisions that she's made previously, and she's having these migraine-inducing flashes that she just can't grapple with, and through that, you understand that she is connected in some way to the Swarm. So the game really is about trying to unravel that mystery and take care of Kate a little bit, which I thought was great. I mean, let's shift focus. We have all of these characters, and why just keep it on the Phoenix Clan the entire time?
Just slow down.
Dell has a really prominent role in this game, and he's sensational, always coming to the aid, always has Kate's back, because you're off alone with Dell and with Jack, this helper robot that is also a huge new addition to the game. We've had robots before, but now you can level them up, and you can use the robot to go off into the distance and grab weapons and stuff. Jack becomes a little sprinkling of RPG dust on the game as well, because you're deciding how you're going to level up this little robotic companion.
Okay, Jack, let's pull some records.
I also love that there are some really heavy key moments where you have to make some really, really heavy decisions, and those resonate and they register. I thought that was fantastic. But Here's a couple of my issues with the campaign. I don't think we've had anything quite as memorable in Gears since the early stuff. You know, like ripping out of a giant worm in Gears 2 or fighting the big bad at the ending of Gears 1. And a lot of the Gears games since then have been trying to echo those moments, and I think Gears 5 also falls into that. With Gears 4, we had some giant robot stuff, a little bit of a spoiler there, which I think was not appreciated by every Gears fanatic out there. I mean, that's the challenge of keeping a franchise like this running for so long, is you have to appease so many different people. With Gears 5, I felt like the campaign was a little more safe than I thought it was going to be. Even though there's some really heavy dramatic beats, in terms of gameplay, it sort of adheres a lot more closely to early Gears stuff. Now, that might be music to your ears if you're a longtime Gears fanatic. For me, I wanted to be a little bit more surprised. The biggest surprise is the skiff stuff that you do and the long stretches where you're not really in combat, you're just sort of getting backstory and you're chatting and you're doing side missions. I enjoyed all of those. I liked them a lot more on the icy levels than I did in the sand levels. I felt like the skiff stuff kind of overstayed its welcome a little bit, and it wasn't as much of an honest surprise when we went back to it. You know, it was like, oh, okay, we're doing this again.
Let's get back on the skiff.
It's not that it's bad, it's just that we're skiffing over kind of boring areas. And even though you're mounting guns on the skiff, we're not really getting into conflict until we park it and then get off of it. And I don't know, I just felt like there was a lot of uninhabited skiffing time that could have been a little bit more exciting.
Here we go!
Also, some of the bosses, although the wardens are amazing, they've got these huge, massive clubs with spikes on them, and they shield themselves from gunfire. It's super fun taking them down. They're frightening as hell, especially if they're shielded and you got to take out the little shield bot. Loved all that stuff. But there's some mega huge bosses that were super disappointing. You kill them and then they come back, and I just thought that they were a little cheesy and cheap, particularly in the face of some of the other massive boss reveals that we've had in previous Gears games. The campaign looks phenomenal. It especially looks phenomenal when we go into tighter quarters and we see all the little tiny details like stacks of paper and broken technology and weapons and ammo crates and stuff like that all over the place. But it's just, everything has a glow that feels rooted in reality, especially the 4K gloss when I played it on the OLED TV that I just couldn't believe my eyes. It's so damn beautiful. It's a little less impressive when we get into the big expansive worlds, even though there's some great dust effects and some great snow effects and stuff. It doesn't blow your mind as much as when you're in the tighter areas or even when you're in the tighter combat areas. Audio is fantastic, the music is great and very dramatic and overdrawn, but still the campaign, maybe a little bit because it leaves us with a cliffhanger, and I just felt like I was waiting for that final like wow moment. The campaign was a little disappointing for me. I would give the campaign of Gears 5 about an 8.5. There's tons to love, but it wasn't the best of the Gears campaigns.
Excuse me?
The other modes in this game is really where the bread and butter of the Gears experiences. You get the campaign, you kind of reacquaint yourself with all these lovely characters, and then you go off and you try to shoot them in the face because they're played by your buds. Escape is the great big new reveal this time out. It allows you to sabotage the swarm. You start inside of one of those creatures that sucks you into its belly, and then you've cut yourself out, and you've got this gas that you can drop, and you're trying to exterminate everybody and escape with your buds. And you've got very little ammunition, and you've got to basically slaughter your enemies and take their weaponry and find little caches of weaponry and stay alive. And all of the different bad guys are crafted and in place so you can memorize where you got to go and work together to do that. It's really hard to be able to pull off an escape alone because the enemies are relentless, and each one of these levels, I mean, obviously you can play at different difficulty levels, but each one of these levels is meant to challenge you as much as possible and really engage you with the idea that you want to play cooperatively. You can also build your own maps, which is a huge part of Escape's charm.
Move your ass, let's go!
Horde mode returning again, and you drop in the Fabricator, and you're leveling up all kinds of defensive power-ups. You can also go for little energy boosts and things like that out into the field. You want to try to stay connected with your buddies. You want to be on voice chat because, as we all know, Horde mode ramps up. It feels familiar. It definitely definitely feels like the Horde experiences that we've had before. They've also introduced new characters into multiplayer. Like, I love the fact that I'm able to play as Sarah Connor or as, I think it's the T-800 exoskeleton or the Terminator skeleton. Just incredible. And they've got Halo ODST characters in there. Depending on the version of the game that you get, you might have to plunk down some extra money in order to get all of these characters. There are microtransactions in the game, but most of them are really about cosmetic items and skins and things like that. You can also buy boosts to get experience points boosts and stuff, which is a little cheeseball, but they haven't gone full court press on trying to get more money out of you. And then they've also got a whole bunch of versus modes in there as well, which are all tons of fun, the team deathmatch and all the different ways that you can get into combat and conflict. Because this is a game that delivers a pretty damn robust single-player campaign, which is huge, and I know some of you are going to love it more than I did, but it also has all of this multiplayer goodness for you to dive into and keep coming back to. It's hard to refute that this is a sensational game and a must-buy for any Xbox One players out there, especially if you've got an Xbox One X. This is a showcase game for that platform. I haven't seen it on PC yet. I'm dying to. I've heard it's phenomenal.
Yeah, shock trap!
I've been having a blast with Gears 5. I think it's terrific. I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. Okay. So, yep, Gears is a phenomenal achievement. Congratulations to all of our friends at the Coalition. Big release for them. And, of course, big release for another Vancouver-based studio, Electronic Arts Canada and the NHL team later this week. Our immense gratitude goes out to Will Ho, who ventured out in the pouring rain to come and join us today. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us in the studio. Remember, we shoot live on location at the VFS Cafe at 390 West Hastings. So if you're in Vancouver, please come down and join us. On Wednesday, we have a couple of guests that work at VFS, actually, but they also have a long history of making games, worked at EA. Chris Mitchell and Scott Henshaw, who run the game design program here at VFS. We're going to have a great conversation, so please come and join us for that or tune into the stream. We'll see you on Wednesday and a little bit earlier start time, 4 p.m. Pacific. We'll see you when you come back for that. Thanks for watching, everybody, and play forever.